welcome back to my channel. If you're just tuning in, welcome. I talk about everything Salesforce, tech, productivity tips, career growth, and now I'm actually adding on lifestyle tips. So for the past weeks, we've been sharing a lot of Salesforce professional stories, showcasing individuals coming in and really showcasing their backgrounds. So for today, I want to welcome a really special guest, Inshu, and I would like to talk a little bit about her. She is a Clapado champion, mentor, coach, solution architect, and principal at her current company, Slalom. So I met her actually after a live webinar called Elevating Women in DevOps, and we literally got to talking right after. I asked her to be on the channel and really just tell us a little bit about her story, and pretty much here we are now. So I'm really excited to have you on the channel. I would love to just have the audience get to know you. So if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself and telling us about your background.
Yeah, thank you, Megan, for this lovely introduction and having me here. It's always a pleasure to meet and talk to the inspiring women like you. And hello, all lovely viewers, and thank you for listening to me. As Megan just described, I'm Inshu, currently working as a Salesforce solution architect at Slalom, Australia, with over 10 years of industry experience. I grew up in a small town of northern India where even Hindi movies in theaters released almost 2 months after their actual release dates. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's small. Smallest of small town. Yep. Anyway, I was a dreamer, always interested in exploring the world and learning new skills like playing musical instruments, singing, computer programming, and I could never have imagined that the optional course that I was registering for would give me the bread and butter in a few years. Yes, in spite of my interest in programming, when I was choosing my BTech major, I was reluctant to opt for computer science as I thought I wasn't great at it. Yeah, hence I chose biotechnology as my major. But we had a compulsory computer programming course each semester, which surprisingly became my favorite. And I thought in my mind that this will be my career in future, that future that I'm just living. Yeah. So I decided that, okay, I can be someone in the IT industry. As a result, I excelled in my interview and got my first interview and got my first job as a Java developer at Accenture. And that was like the unbelievable thing because people who were there in the interview were from computer science background, from IT industry, like IT background. They had IT as their major, and I was from biotechnology. And I can never thank enough Accenture for giving me this opportunity. Then after some time, after working for some time as a Java developer, I cross-skilled myself in Salesforce development. And since then, I have worked as a Salesforce developer, tester, business analyst, consultant, technical architect, solution architect, mentor, and a coach using Salesforce, sales, service, marketing, experience cloud, analytics, which is now known as Tableau CRM, in various industries across 3 countries. I traveled for work, lived in almost all the big cities of India, moved to New Zealand, then Australia, got to experience different cultures, tried to learn different languages, and currently living in Melbourne with my gorgeous dog and an amazing life partner. So yeah, that's my story.
I love that. I think one thing that you and I connected off camera for everybody watching, she's very much a go-getter, and so am I. And I really admired this about her because when you meet another go-getter, it's like it sparks a fire in you. So then it's like, okay, she's going to, and I got to go too. And it's just a good support system. So that's another reason I love having you on this channel. So I know you mentioned that you lived in a few places and you got different opportunities. I would love to ask you about what did you learn about personal branding and also utilizing LinkedIn throughout your career?
Okay, I'm a storyteller, so I'll again begin with a story. When I was 8 or 9, can't remember exactly, but my father once told me, I'm really, like super inspired by my father. My father used to be my role model. My mother as well, but I was more close to my father while growing up than my mother. So my father told me a story about New Zealand, that it is a country so neat and clean that people don't have to wear slippers even on the streets. And I imagined, how would it be like living in a country such as that? Secretly, no, like I did not tell to anyone because my mother told me that if you tell your aspirations, you actually jinx it. So I did not want to jinx it. So I did not tell it to anyone until I achieved it. So secretly, I started reading about New Zealand's geography. Don't ask me anything about that, but yeah, I started reading about New Zealand's geography, their indigenous culture, their history, and as cricket was my favorite sport, I started supporting New Zealand team after India, obviously, if Indians are watching. And Brendan McCullum was my favorite player back then. And but that was like when I was growing up, it was just like my secret desire, and like it was hidden. One of my colleagues in 2016 told me that their partner secured a job overseas through LinkedIn. Uh, and at that time, my LinkedIn followers were around two to 300, not followers, connections. They were 300. And I was like, okay, is that even possible? And that night I went back, I sent requests to more than 50 recruiters from Australia and New Zealand. As like I did not know anything about personal branding back then, and I started developing something because I had a hope that if someone else could get it through LinkedIn, why can't I? And then I started this development of my personal branding, my LinkedIn profile, my Facebook profile. Back then, now I don't use it anymore, but yeah, back then I did that. As I could not find many job openings in New Zealand, I was targeting Australia as well to eventually make a move to New Zealand sometime. I might have contacted at least 100 people over a year. I did that for a year. It did not happen overnight. I did that for a year. Like stalked is a wrong word. I contacted them. I started sending out messages. I floated my resume however I could. Like I kept improving it. I kept adding skills. I kept meeting the Australian and New Zealand standards, and developed my profile like that. Then one fine afternoon of summer of 2017, I was minding my business, building a VF page, and suddenly received a message from a company called Les Mills International asking for my interest moving to Auckland. With my eyes wide open. And when I saw that message, I was literally like, instantly, my faith in God solidified, and I typed my affirmation, made that move. Then one thing led to the other, and I moved to Australia with a desire to return to New Zealand sometime in future. And I was living my dream, which was possible by the combination of power of networking, a strong experience in Salesforce development, and like on top of it, my personal brand on LinkedIn, because of which I was like found. Like my manager back at Les Mills, he found my profile on LinkedIn, and then he contacted me. So I always credit, and I always tell that story to everyone, that yeah, LinkedIn helped me to get that job, my dream job.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. I think it's so important because a lot of people want to get out there on LinkedIn, but I've talked about this in some other blogs, but like how to utilize LinkedIn, how to structure their resume. And it sounds like you did that a lot. Like you were kind of like that constant person that said, I added new edits, I added new things to the resume. And I think that's really important. I know outside of this conversation, offline, everybody, that we talked about you having a mentor, and now you being a mentor yourself. Can you kind of tell us what really makes a good mentor for you.
Mentorship and coaching is like definitely invaluable. All the successful people that I know have a coach or a mentor. A mentor could be a person working alongside you, or people leader, or your people leader, someone from your family or from the wider community that you hang out, the people you hang out with. No matter what field you're in or what position you're at, a mentor is someone who would always have something to add to your growth.
Yeah.
The mentor needs not be in your industry, as I've benefited from the life experiences of people who are distantly related to my career, but they still have to teach me something or the other. I'll again tell you one story. That person is not my direct mentor, but I learned a lot from her. Mm-hmm. I handle an Instagram account of my gorgeous husky, Myra. And through that account, I met an inspiring young woman from Australia who had a medical condition that didn't let her work full time. And even though she wasn't allowed to work, she loved her dogs, and she started stitching a few bandanas or accessories for her dogs. And then she decided to sell those dog accessories because it was huge. She liked it so much, so she created an abundance that her dogs could not wear those accessories in their lifetime. So she started to sell, and she would stitch by the day and do social media marketing by night. And that's how she built her Instagram shop. Wow. Is it shop? Yeah, shop. So Instagram shop, she built that, and she started first selling to Etsy and then came to Instagram and did some social media marketing. And with no college degree and very little resources, she still managed to generate a revenue of more than 100,000 AUD.
It's amazing.
Within a year. And that was really inspiring. You can make this much money by just stitching dog. And it's not about stitching dog bandanas. The quality of her bandanas are different because she puts in a lot of effort and she's doing it with passion. Story actually led me to get connected with so many amazing females who lost their jobs or started their small businesses of dog treats and bananas during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And my dog Myra became a brand ambassador for a few of those. Yes, my dog is an Instagram. And so why I'm telling that story is because that actually inspired me to learn about Instagram marketing. Started learning about the concept of social listening to show the right product to the users at the right time. And I joined a few groups to learn from their experiences because they were running successful shops and they are all small business owners and they are doing great job. They're just 17, 18 years old girls and they are putting a lot of efforts. And it was just so fascinating to me that I started doing that. I learned social intelligence. I learned social media marketing. I learned how to integrate Instagram APIs ethically. And I started developing those marketing cloud journeys back then. So I had access to Marketing Cloud through my previous employer, and I kept trying these things on my own account. But yeah, like, look, I just explained the benefits of passive mentorship. So this is just the passive mentorship. Like you select your mentor. Like this is something that I could learn from them. I learned it without them knowing that I was learning from them. And that helped me build my skills. Those amazing ladies didn't even know that they were helping me in some way.
Yeah.
That was about passive mentorship. Now this is about active mentorship. The steps that I follow are first and foremost, initiate a conversation. Like without initiating a conversation, you're not going to get anything. So you have to go and say at least hello to that person whom you think could be a good mentor to you. It doesn't harm to introduce yourself and arrange for a coffee session. Like I always go and I ask people, will you be able to have a virtual coffee session with me?
Yeah.
So this you can do that anytime. And if the person says no, okay, you got your answer. But if you are invested in that person, even if that person is not ready for a coffee session, you can have those conversations. Don't go and just start pestering that person, but you can always come back, follow up. How are you doing? Kind of that. And I initiate a conversation with the people whom I consider as my potential mentors. So that is first point, initiate a conversation. Then be a patient, not patient, like be not be patient, be a patient. Like you go and see a doctor.
Yeah.
As you seek advice from a doctor, approach your mentor the same way. They need not know that you're a patient, but yeah, you have to believe that you are going for an advice. And the reason why I'm saying that term is using that term is because if you're a patient, you are open for advice. Don't go and question your mentor's ability to answer you correctly. Just be open for any advice. So that's why I'm using that term, patient.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I ask a few questions to them, and based on their listening skills, I decide if they would be able to relate to me or not. Not about their abilities. I'm just talking about my behavioral, um, like rapport. If we are going to build that rapport in future or not. Because if they don't connect with me, they will faces like a few challenges in helping me out. So it's very important that they connect with me. For example, if I receive a response like, you can always Google it, I presume a lost cause, because if someone is saying that go and Google it, I can always do that. I know that I am an IT consultant, and I always know that I'm not judging their abilities. It's just like, it's not because I doubt their knowledge or skills. It's because of the behavioral misalignment. And for a person like me, I want that connection to be established first. Just go with an open mind, and like you select your doctor. If they are able to understand your problems, then they are the right mentor. If they are super skilled and they're not able to understand your problem, they will probably not be able to help you out. Final step is to give back. As soon as you start giving back to the community by becoming a mentor to someone else, you would be surprised to see the growth in yourself.
Yep.
No matter where you are at in your professional or personal life, you'll always find people who would benefit from your advice. So if, say, for example, if someone is a senior developer, that person could train the junior developers. And if a junior developer is there, that person could train the graduate trainees. When I started my first mentorship thing, I was a senior analyst back at Accenture, and I had only two to 3 years of experience. And people would think, she like at my level now, I would think of a person, she's still young and she's um, still learning. But the person who just joined the company and who was trying to explore Salesforce ecosystem, I had a lot of things to share. So yeah, just start becoming a mentor to someone, and you would learn like plethora of things that you wouldn't have learned through your mentor, because their experience is different and they come with those problems that you never faced, and then you try to find the solutions to those problems, and you also learn.
I think that I had never thought about thinking about selecting mentors in a patient way, because you wouldn't go to a doctor that doesn't work for you. You wouldn't pick a therapist if they didn't understand or relate to why you're coming to them. So you have to make sure that, and I believe mentoring and finding a mentor is a process. And you have to find, and you talked on this, you have to find somebody who matches your vibe and personality. And they don't exactly have to be, where you're going in your future. I think it's good, like you said, to have those different perspectives. But also when you become a mentor yourself, I don't think that there's any year too late to become a mentor, your first year, your third year, because like you said, everybody has their own story, their own journey, their own experience with the company. So it's the best situation or the best opportunity for you to learn more about yourself and have like a self journey is through helping others. So that's really awesome. And where have you found these mentors? If somebody would come up to us and be like, I really love this conversation. I'm motivated to find a mentor, but where do I go? What would you say to them?
Back when I started my journey, the only place that I could find my mentors were through my employers, the people who were working with me. And gradually I started attending those Salesforce events. I met a lot of people there, and LinkedIn, obviously LinkedIn, I approached them through LinkedIn. But in these days, there are a lot of programs running in each industry or sub-industries. Salesforce Trailblazer Mentorship Program is where I started being a mentor almost, officially started being a mentor almost a year and a half ago amidst our first lockdown. Then there is Copado Mentorship Program. As you mentioned earlier, I'm a Copado champion. Yeah. So I came to know about this Copado Mentorship Program, which is also a great place to find a mentor if you are interested in Salesforce DevOps, specifically in Salesforce DevOps. So these are like sub skills. If you are a Salesforce developer, you would want to explore that DevOps area. You're more interested in DevOps than the actual development, then that is the place. So then there are several Trailblazer communities where you could find like-minded individuals who could potentially become your mentors. Key is to build a good relationship first. Be vulnerable and raise your hand for help. Actually, just raise it like this. And I believe that there would definitely be one person to hold it for you. And we only need one person to do that. We don't want 10 or 11 people to just come holding it. We just want one person. And there is going to be that person somewhere. That person just doesn't know you yet. And you have to be just out there to tell those people that, okay, I need this thing, and someone will have it and give it to you. We have 8 billion people in the world. Someone will be there. I am also a behavior analyst and run my own mentorship sessions that are free. So everyone is free to come visit my website and feel free to book some time with me. If you feel that I can help you out with something, just go to inshumisra.com.au and you'll find where to find me. And if you're not interested in mentorship session, just book a coffee session with me and I'll see if I can find time with you to help you out, and if we have that frequency. So these are a few things. Like me, there are several others who are running these courses for free or for some minimal price that you can just go and avail. It's keep your eyes open.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to say, from experience in booking my session with her, her website is very well designed. So depending on what you are looking for, she has it for you. So for everybody that's watching, here you have your first mentor. It just takes a little bit of networking to dig through and find them. I would also say another place, Trailblazer is definitely a great place. Meeting people is definitely a great, one of the main areas. But there's also the local groups, like you said. Yeah. And I think a lot of times those are overlooked. And there's a lot of opportunity there. It doesn't have to, and people ask this question too, does it have to be in your local area? It doesn't have to. I live in Dallas and I'm a part of the Austin group. So you can be hundreds of miles away. You can be in a group across the continent. It doesn't really matter where you are. Just pick that mentor, and I'll make sure to link the website to be able to book a session with her. Definitely, reach out, see if it is compatible. Okay, for some final thoughts, I know that you and I have talked about some publishments that you've had come out recently and some things that you're working on. I would love to be able to share with the audience what that is.
My interview has recently been published by SaaS Guru on their website. where I have shared some tips to prepare for your certification journey, Salesforce certification journey. I am also an aspiring Salesforce CTA and currently coaching for the same. So I am building those materials during my going on my journey, and I'm trying to help out the other people who are still at the very initial stage of their journey to CTA, which we know, like whosoever is in Salesforce ecosystem, they know that how difficult could it be with full-time working and full-time work responsibilities, and then handling those study hours, managing it with your family time. It becomes really challenging. So I am going to share a few tips as I go on that journey, so that others can also benefit from my journey.
Well, I'm so excited, and I know that the audience will really benefit from your story. I think the most important or the most powerful tool that we can give people is your story, people's story, because they can't, like you said earlier, like we can't learn from our experiences if we haven't done it. We got to kind of learn from other people sometimes. So I'm so excited. As we kind of wrap up, is there any final words that you would like to say to the audience? And for everybody watching, everything that was mentioned will definitely be in the link below. So you can reach out to her, you can set a time with her and just read into her stories, share, like see what she's doing, see how she's active in the community. But yes, is there anything that you would like to say to the audience?
I would just like to mention that definition of success is different for different people.
Yep.
Don't let others' parameters or experiences govern your journey. Your journey is yours and yours only. People can be a part of it, support you, but never be the drivers. Have a lovely process, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.